Hello, this is Scott Jentz. Welcome to Sandbox Stories.
Hello, welcome to this Sandbox Story, which is an interview with Dr. Janene Sims. Dr. Sims is on faculty at the University of Alabama-Birmingham, and her experience and leadership includes working with their outreach arm called the Community Eyecare Initiative, and her commitment to others is really special. And I look forward to learning more about it today with you. Dr. Sims, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to Sandbox Stories.
Thank you so much for inviting me today.
I'm so glad to have you here. We've just met, and I want to start with this. I learned that you grew up on a farm.
Yes.
Tell us about those early days of your life.
It was awesome. My dad was one of 14 children, and he was the one who decided to stay on the farm. Everyone else moved away, but he decided to stay. So he decided to have 3 children. So that's a big difference. So we were very, very busy, but we loved it. We had animals. So we had cows and we had pigs. We had goats that were just there to nibble on the grass and keep things looking good. But in terms of we had chickens, we had turkeys. So those were like our animals on the farm. In terms of things that we grew lots of different types of vegetables. So we had all kinds of peas, butter beans, squash, zucchini, yellow squash. We had cucumbers, tomatoes, turnips, collards, sweet potatoes, watermelons, corn, peanuts. so just a little bit of everything. So our summers would always start early before school was out, and we would be pretty busy throughout the summer. And in the fall of the year, of course, that was the time for the peanuts. And we also did things with our pine trees with turpentine. So we would do things with that. So not so much me and my sister, but my brother, of course, and my dad. But so there was something to do year round on the farm, for sure.
Where was this farm?
In Georgia.
Okay.
A small town in Georgia called Milan, Milan. And I found out probably about 2 years ago, they had a celebration of the town, and it was actually named after Milan. The person who established our town built railroads, and he would send his wife all around the world. And so she would go and visit places and she would name the towns. And so I'm actually from Milan, Georgia, but we've been Milan this entire time.
You told a story in something that I read about your dad delivering vegetables to others. What's the story behind that?
Well, we would get in his green pickup truck, and once we had gotten things together, we would go around to sell. So he would sell to some of the local stores, but we would also sell to folks locally. But some folks couldn't afford to purchase it. And it was this little lady that lived around the corner from us, and he would stop by and say, "Hey, do you want some peas?" And she would say, No, I don't want any. And he would say, "Well, that's okay. This is just a little bunch, and it's not enough for a bushel for someone else, so I'm just going to share it with you." And so he would stop and give vegetables. So we would always have plenty, so we could share with others. So that was just his way of saying, I'm going to give it to you anyway. We knew she couldn't afford it, but he was able to help her out, and she could have some fresh vegetables as well.
That must have had quite an impact on you.
Yeah, because no matter what you have, you can always assist others. That's what my parents taught us. It really doesn't matter, and that's what his dad his parents taught them, because it was so many of them. You think, oh my goodness, who can you help out, right? With 14 kids. Well, a lot. People would come and visit with them during the summers. They would always give food to others and things. And it's like, okay, well, we've got a hog that we're going to kill for this, so we can share some meat with these folks. Or we've got a cow, we can share this. So it was passed down from my grandfather to my dad, and then he just kept the tradition going, I think.
One other farm story. I understand you know how to drive John Deere tractors.
Oh, yes. That's all we had was John Deere. So, yes, I could drive a tractor, because when we would load the watermelons, we would get this big trailer. And so you would just drive it and park, and sometimes just load the things up. And so it was just normal for me. It was fun. It was lots of fun.
Watermelons are heavier than they look.
And that's why I was stronger than what I looked. Yeah, it was, I played sports. My brother played sports. My sister played sports. Now the kids do weight training, right? And they have the personal trainer. We had the farm. You were just...
Yeah, I grew up in rural Wisconsin. A lot of very strong farm kids.
Just strong. And it's just because... lifting and a bushel of butter beans is, it's a lot. It's a lot. But you just got used to lifting things and loading them up. And my dad would go to the farmer's market and sell things as well. So we would go to the Atlanta market and just go on a Friday night, be there during Saturday and sell things and come back home. So it was just great, just smelling the fresh fruits and things. And so now when I walk into a store, if I can't smell a cantaloupe, I'm like, really? I should be able to smell this, and people are, folks have walked up to me in the store and say, what are you doing? I'm thumping the melon. And they say, what do you listen for? And so then I'm trying to describe, okay, if your thud is too low, it's too ripe. If it's too high, it's not ripe enough. It's got to be right in the middle. So I'm showing this lady, and so she's just thumping. It was hilarious, but it's like, it's an art. It's an art.
My wife may call you because she keeps telling me that I need to hear the hollowness in the watermelon. And I'm not sure either of us really know what we're listening for.
Well, I've got to find you one that's not ripe and too ripe so you'll know. But if it's really low, it's like, that's too ripe. That's too ripe. So, but a smell is good. If you can smell your melon and you haven't cut it open, that is a good thing with a cantaloupe. That's a fresh smell. It's like, oh, I know that one's ready,
I mean, the audience has only been at this 5 minutes and they've already become smarter. So let's talk about eye care.
Okay.
What or who motivated you to get into eye care?
My hometown optometrist, Dr. Altman. He and his dad had a practice, and because I'm from a small town, if you would do things academically, you would get put in the newspaper, okay? So he saw my name in the paper for some different things that were going on, and he said, so I see your name a lot. So what are you going to do when you finish high school? I said, well, I want to do something in science or engineering, because engineering was really big. So I'm thinking along those lines. And he said, why don't you look into optometry? I was in the 10th grade. So that very same year, a few weeks later, one of our teachers said, I want you guys to do a career project. And I said, I'm going to look into optometry. And that's exactly what I did. So since the 10th grade, I can thank Dr. Altman for this. He put it in my head as a possibility because we're a small profession. So not a lot of people, they have the shows on television. Oh, I want to be a surgeon. I want to do this. But they don't really think about optometry. So that's what really made me look into it. And I said, you know what? Everybody needs great vision. So this is definitely something I think I could do, and haven't changed my course since. So.
Well, in fact, you really were driven because you not only got your BS and OD degrees at UAB, but then you got a PhD in vision science. What drove you to that level of educational success? Because it's beyond what most of us in optometry have done.
Well, when I finished my residency and I started working in Birmingham, because so many people fall in love with Birmingham when they come to optometry school, they really don't want to leave. Okay. So at that time, there were not a lot of positions. So one of the doctors that I worked with here, Dr. Kleinstein, was going to start a study, and he needed some doctors to do the study. And he said, hey, you can be part-time and work on this, but if you get your PhD, you can do this full-time. So you'll do your PhD work and you'll do this other working with the CLEAR study. And how does that sound? And I'm like, sounds great, because my husband was still in school at the time. So he was in medical school finishing up, and we had a daughter as well. So I'm like, full-time work sounds good to me. So that's how the PhD started. And so I was trying to decide on what did I want to research. And so I'm looking at different things. And so I was looking at just a way to detect glaucoma earlier in patients. So that's what my research was on.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And you've really been driven in support of the community, whether it's your children's schools or your church or otherwise. I get the hint, right, from the family lineage, and it's part of who you are. But tell me a little bit about what's driven you to the support of the community outside of optometry.
If I see something that needs to be done or that's not being done, I just jump in. Both of my kids were in sports. Okay, so my daughter played basketball. She was in the band. Son was in the band, basketball. They both played lacrosse. And so my son's junior year, because he had played lacrosse from middle school all the way up, and his junior year, they didn't have enough at his high school to play lacrosse. And so he was going to have to join a rival team, and he's like, I'm not going to make them better. No, not going to do it. So he switched over to track. The minute I walked into the track team, I became a team mom. And I'm like, wait a minute. I just got here. How did this happen? I was a basketball mom. I was the lacrosse mom. I was the band mom. But I walked onto the scene, and it's like, okay, they need some more tents. So we bought a tent. Okay, I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to do videos. And, I think I'll post these things on Twitter. So I became the official tweeter for it's like, I don't know. I get myself in trouble sometimes, but kids love those pictures and photographs. I love taking pictures. That's something I got from my dad as well. And so I would post pictures of them, and they would be so, thanks, Miss Sims. Thanks, Miss Sims. This is so nice. And then bringing the coolers with the snacks and this. I was an instant team mom, and it's nothing that I tried to do, but I don't know. And so his senior year, they said, are you going to come back with us? And I'm like, come on, guys. I got to move on to college with him too, so, but it was crazy.
I think it just naturally fits some people. And obviously it's related to your love of your family and your kids and helping them get something out of it. Tell us about this UAB Community Eyecare team. I know you've served as director there. What was the genesis of that, and what is it all about?
For almost 50 years, the Community Eyecare program has been a part of UAB's curriculum. And it basically started as a training arm for our second year students. So the ones who were learning how to do eye exams in the pre-clinic, this was their turn to get out and see patients themselves. So let's say, okay, we're going to go see preschool children and do vision screenings, because all of the Head Start kids here in the state of Alabama, and probably across the nation, have to have screenings for certain things, since those are federally uh, uh, programs. They have to have certain screenings to make sure the kids are where they're supposed to be, so they can do well in school and have a head start before they go into kindergarten. So we started doing that back when Dr. Perry, who was my mentor as a student, he retired back in 2020, but he's the one that got me, I think, to love community eye care, because he truly loved going into the community, seeing the kids, and we went from just screening preschool kids to screening adults, to now having a clinic in the community where we do full eye exams. So over the 50-year period, it has just changed and evolved, and it not only involves the second-year students, but it involves the third-year students as well as the fourth-year students. So we keep growing and changing. And this past weekend, we actually went to an area of Alabama known as the Black Belt, which was named for the rich black soil along the Warrior River. And it's also some of the areas that are the poorest in the state. And it's because a lot of farms used to be there around those areas, but now they're no longer farming. And you have people who've lost jobs or unemployed. So we go down once a month to provide eye exams to those areas, and we have partners with different groups who help us provide glasses for them as well at no charge.
That's tremendous. And it sounds, again, like you're all about the collective success, but you must have been proud. UAB recognized you with the Odessa Woolfolk Community Service Award. And I know it's not about your recognition, but this is related to you carrying on what was there before you. And it sounds like they recognized you for it. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. That is such an honor, because Dr. Woolfolk was such a pioneer and did so much. And she was a faculty member here at UAB. And so when she retired, they decided to honor her with this award. So I was deeply honored to receive that this year.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And it also sounds like this community eye care process isn't just about screening. Now you've involved other students and you have this continuum. What can others learn that aren't around optometry college, as wonderful as UAB's, that maybe are just out on their own? What would you advise other doctors to do that maybe are listening to this and are a little motivated by you?
I teach a professional communications class or intro to clinic course for the students, and I have them to go out into the community and do speeches about eye care or getting to optometry school. So I've got some students who will be talking to a pre-optometry club, because I'm always promoting optometry. But I tell them, when you get out into practice and the patients aren't flowing in, you may have to go into a school and do a vision screening. So now you know how to do one, how to set one up, because you've been a part of community eye care, and that gets your name out there, and you're able to detect problems and issues, and also get those folks into your practice so that they can get the eye care that they need.
Yeah. Going into schools myself early in my career, I didn't do the screenings part, but communicating with the teachers and the students, giving the students a sense of the importance of their sight, which often is just, as we all know, understood, if that's a word. I think it's a great thing that you're motivating the young people to do. I want to also talk about the work you did in 2020. You created something called EyeCare4Justice. You're the leader of UAB's diversity committee. What advice do you have about optometry understanding the need to drive diversity and equity in our collective consciousness?
We were having our weekly faculty meetings back during the shutdown, and we would talk about what's going on and everything. And I said, we're missing something. We're missing these things that are in the news, these alarming social injustice, these things that were going on. It's like I wanted our meetings to be more meaningful. Okay. And so at one meeting, I said, okay, I'm going to bring some things up, And on that meeting, we had only 4 or 5 people that showed up because people were gone for the day, not there. But it was a fantastic meeting. And after that meeting, because it was the dean and maybe 4 more faculty members. But after that meeting, I brought some things up. I said, I think we really need to do something. And so after that, we got with some of the students and the staff. And so I designed this logo, which was basically an eye chart that said, "We see you. I care for justice." And, we made the shirts and the signs and everything. And we just had a staff member, a student, and a faculty member to just basically talk about what was going on and just basically our stand in support of justice for everyone. And it's like, as optometrists, we should be able to see the injustices that were going on. So that's how it initially started. And from that, I started writing this these articles every week or so in our teachable moments section for our e-newsletter for the school. And so I would take things from the headlines and put in there some things, just historical things. Last year for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is October, I wrote something on Henrietta Lacks, just so they would know, these, I'm just teaching you about some history of how we know about this cell line and everything. So I think it just made me just communicate more. And some of the retired faculty who get the newsletter, they're like, man, I enjoyed these bits. And I'm like, yes, they're reading them. So I have really enjoyed that, really.
And do you get the sense that the students of all races are reading and understanding and connecting with this? I think this younger generation is very committed to more acceptance than there was certainly when you and I were growing up. Is that the case?
I think it is. I am also the advisor for the National Optometric Student Association, which is one of the organizations here. We have a great chapter here at the school, and it's made up of all different types of students, but the purpose is the same, which is to promote optometry to minority populations and to get the word out about eye conditions that may affect certain groups. But we've had some they've done some things throughout the year, nationally and locally, to talk about issues and to discuss things. And I don't know that would have happened back when I was in optometry school. So the students are definitely more open to things, and they've sponsored different talks. And so this month, well, from September the 15th through October 15th was Hispanic Heritage Month. They actually had a speaker last week who came and talk about her journey from Colombia to optometry school. So they are definitely more open to things and just trying to learn about different cultures and just share this information with others.
Yeah, thanks for doing all that. Let's finish with this. I understand you're quite a singer.
Yes.
What's your
singing in church anymore because I've been Zooming. So, but
well, we won't ask you to sing here. But what is your favorite song to sing and why?
My favorite song, probably it would be one of the songs from church, and I sung it at my grandmother's funeral. So that's probably gonna be my favorite. It's "My Soul Has Been Anchored." And that's a favorite of
what does it mean to you? What I mean, that's really wonderful.
The song starts off say, though the storms keep on raging in my life, and sometimes I can't tell the night from day. And basically through all of that, because your soul is anchored in the Lord, you can hold on, you can be strong, you can make it through. So that's definitely one of my favorites.
That's wonderful. Last opportunity to give a message to your fellow optometrists. What do you have to give them here as we close in toward the end of 2021?
I'm always recruiting. I want every optometrist to be a recruiter. I want them to share information about our profession to up and coming, middle school, elementary, it doesn't matter. I'm always recruiting. If I have a kid in the chair and I said, what do you want to do when you graduate? I don't know. I said, what's your favorite subject? Oh, I like math. Ooh, guess what has a lot of math? So I want them to be recruiters, whether they work at an optometry school or not. Be like Dr. Altman was for me. You be that person who's introducing people to something that's not on Grey's Anatomy, that's, not on House. Let's introduce them to a great profession and keep it growing and keep it going.
Oh. Dr. Janene Sims, thank you for your willingness to tell us your many stories. What a great motivation you've given me and the audience this morning. Thanks for everything.
Thank you so much for having me.
And to the audience, thanks for attending and paying attention to Dr. Sims' stories. Until my next Sandbox story, be great at all you do.